Why the fuck didn't he hold her hand? That's all I've got to say. Why? Why, Doctor? This is the Life of the Stars episode of Starfleet Academy. This is the review, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it. So I am aware that this is very, very late. Don't judge me. Things happen. That's life. I'm going to talk about this in two separate areas and then together all as one. The first is what I like to call the A-plot. The A-plot deals with the Miyazaki and what happened there, and also Tarima coming and being forced into Starfleet Academy, the play Our Time, and the return of Tilly. First things first, I love the fact that Tilly's in this. I think I liked Tilly as a character before. I like her now. I think she's fun. I think that using theatre as therapy was genuinely an interesting way of doing things, but also every captain, well, not every captain, Janeway and Picard were very theatrical, especially Picard. Like, he was constantly playing out some sort of theatrical thing on the holodeck, a niche thing. So using Our Town is interesting. It's not as big of a cultural touch in Australia. Like, I learned about it in high school. I remember virtually nothing. I don't even know if I learned about it or whether they just took us to see Our Town, a student performance. So I'm not entirely sure. But to me, it was irrelevant. Like, the whole play thing is irrelevant. Yes, they're talking about, I like the comparisons between the stage manager and the Doctor and Nala Ake. I liked the themes that they were using for this, the feelings of being dead and ghost and stuff like that. And Tarima's trauma is genuinely, like, dealing with the fact that you blew up an alien race's head is pretty extreme. And people dealing with the fact that the Vulcan dude, I'm going to call him Bob, died, because I honestly didn't know what his name was, and they repeat it in this episode. I have no idea. Vulcan dude passed away, and he was a hero, and earning that respect, I liked it. I think it was, dealing with that trauma was exciting. I think this probably should have been last episode, but dealing with that trauma through theatre, using Our Town, people being against it, Jaden mysteriously getting a cold and disappearing, was a weird one for me. I liked that he talked about quadratesticles. So now we have it confirmed they have 2 penises and 4 testicles. I feel like the bulge in all Klingon pants should be a lot bigger than what it is. I like that the characters aren't getting along. They're sort of acting very immature and very childish. And I suppose after a trauma, maybe they revert to a more basic sort of formula. It's kind of written like they are teenagers instead of being sort of slightly older, which is something that I don't mind. The overall premise of the video, of the episode, is Tarima dealing with what she did and the fact that she now doesn't have a choice in where she is. She's in Starfleet Academy because the Doctor comes up with some reason, and Ake comes up with some reason that this is the best place for her to be with all the scientists, and they can study her and keep an eye on her. I kind of get it, but it's really just sort of putting her in there. She's got a cold shoulder for Caleb, which I get. He didn't contact her for a long time, as we know from the last episode, so I understand why there's that relationship. Dealing with their relationship is interesting. Tilly being here, I just wish that Tilly was in the whole season, but I don't mind it. Tilly talking to Ake and talking to Reno was really good there. Reno and Tilly's relationship is so good because they're very opposite characters, and I genuinely enjoy their interactions of sort of dry wit, that love but hate, not even hate, love but sort of acknowledgement of their difference, which I really, really like. Ake drinking a lot. In the beginning, we do see that Sam collapses. She's the one who suggests Our Time as a play. And she's been glitching like she was in the last episode because of what happened on the Miyazaki. So she gets sent away. Now, overall, the A-plot is all about each of the students dealing with the repercussions of one of their friends dying, one of their colleagues dying, being in a traumatic situation, using the play to talk about life, death, how they're feeling and how, about each other and about what happened, and moving forward in that way. It culminates in Tarima sort of feeling like she isn't herself, but then also acknowledging that she could become someone new, that everyone wants her to sort of open up to them and be open. Everyone's very supportive of her in this episode. She has a little tanty at the end and then goes away. That is the A plot. The A plot is very emotional. It's about dealing with trauma, dealing with death, and Ake talks about how it's very soon for them to be dealing with this. Maybe don't take your very young students in their first year to a ship in the middle of nowhere. But once again, you need to do on-the-spot training. The B plot. So the B plot is essentially Sam has been glitching. The Doctor studies her. He can't find a way to fix her. Sam knows that there's no way to fix her. She knows that she's dying. But the Doctor doesn't know what to do. He's very sort of standoffish. Sam suggests going back to her home planet. Ake and the Doctor decide to take her. There's a few scenes in this where the Doctor is clearly trying to keep an emotional distance from her, as I said in the beginning. But there's a few times where the Doctor talks about, and the episode opens with the Doctor talking about how he's lived for 800 years. Every day kind of feels like the same, and also a long time ago and yesterday. He's sort of out. He's the observer of everything. He doesn't get close to it. And Ake's kind of the same because she's also quite old. So there's this lovely play on his sort of immortality and how much he's grown, how much he's changed. I think having a Doctor-focused episode was important. I don't think this focused enough on the Doctor. So Sam and him have a conversation on the ship, and she talks about how he's a bad mentor and how she tried to get close to him, but he kept pushing her away. And we've seen that throughout the season. The Doctor's a bit brisk with Sam. And the Doctor talks about all the people that he watches leave, and Ake and him sort of have a big discussion on the stage manager and how sort of standing outside being in the play and also standing outside the play watching it. So there's a lot of allegory there. Whoever wrote this really loved Out. But they talk about this, and the Doctor talking about that loss and that sense of immortality. It very much reminds me of Doctor Who, funnily enough. But the difference is the Doctor sort of pulled away from particularly Sam. And Sam talks about how she wanted him to be a mentor. And he goes, well, what will these holographic, your people, think about me? And she goes, they think you're a mentor because you're an inspiration to them. And she goes, I told you that. You weren't a good one. And it's really interesting. She's glitching. They go to Kask. I forgot what the planet's name is right now. And Sam is tested. And basically they go, we can't do anything. The trauma from what happened, she doesn't have the emotional maturity to do it. And Ake talks about how she sort of, they in general talk about how she doesn't have that life experience of growing up to deal with these traumatic situations. So she's sort of glitching on herself. She keeps trying to fix herself. And Sam talks about how she wants to fall in love and she wants to get close to people and she wants to eat cake. She wants to do all these things. She wants to learn. And the Doctor, we finally get a confession and a relationship sort of building moment where she is about to be deactivated, asks the Doctor to hold her hand, and the Doctor says no. And no, it doesn't say no, sorry. He sort of backsways, like, oh, I don't want to. And I and Ribbit audibly went, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you being so mean to her and stuff like that? And it didn't make sense. And Ake brings this up, and he brings up the episode Real Life from Star Trek Voyager, which is where the Doctor created a family, B'Elanna reprogrammed these holograms, and the daughter in that family ended up dying, and he was very close to her. I don't know why specifically that reference, because there could have been a million other references. But I suppose it's the biggest, most people will know. So he talks about losing her because she gets hurt and how it hurt him, and so he didn't develop connections after that. Although we saw him develop a bond with Seven, we saw him develop bonds with the Prodigy cast. He's mentioned them before. I do feel like they should have emphasized a little more on all of the loss, because he's watched everyone he's ever loved die over and over again. And I get it. Pulling away is an easy way to just not feel that. And he mentioned seeing Sam, and Sam reminded him specifically of his daughter from that hologram program. So I suppose that's why he brought it up. And I will say this. I watched the episode 3 times, and I cried each time because Robert Picardo's acting was magnificent. Sam has been a character which I've really loved and enjoyed. And the solution to this, the solution to Sam's problem and everything, turns out to be that she just needs the emotional maturity you get from growing up. And the Doctor is convinced by Ake that he needs to join the story, our town. And he's sort of hesitant at first, but he decides that he's going to stay on Kask, which exists outside of time, runs faster than normal. So, like, 17 years is like a couple of weeks. So he raises Sam from childhood to 17, 18 years old. And we get clips of him raising her and growing up and sort of hugging and bonding with her, which is lovely to see from the Doctor. It's a good, like, little character moment. And once again, I feel really sad. There's some talks about our town, and overall, I felt more emotional about the Doctor stuff because I'm an old Trek fan and I watched a lot of Voyager. More emotional about the Doctor stuff. There's a lot of stuff I'm sort of glossing over because this is obviously a quicker review because it's a late review, but overall, this episode to me was really good. It's probably one of the better ones of the season. In terms of dealing with the trauma, having an interesting sci-fi concept in Sam and the Doctor and the holographic people, and the emotional core of that, really, really great. The balance was wrong though, and I've seen a lot of reviewers say this. The A plot should have been the Doctor and Sam. The B plot should have been our town and Tarima, which is what I think it should have been. There's a lot of sort of just stretching that out, I feel. Like we do get Tarima being drunk and sort of calling Caleb, but cracking onto him, and then him, like, amazingly turns around and not amazingly, but like turns around and goes, no, you're drunk. I can't do this. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do. And she talks about trying to hurt him. She's in pain, clearly. Nerdrotic, who, if you watch any other channel, Nerdrotic does a lot of sci-fi reviews. He said that most guys wouldn't turn a drunk woman down if they cracked onto them. Whoa, that is called non-consensual. That is a little rapey, Nerdrotic. Maybe you should grow the fuck up. A horrible channel. Just a rage-baity hateness of Nerdrotic. Anyway, but here's that maturity in that moment to recognize that she's in pain, she's drunk, he needs to step away, she's venting. That acknowledgement that they love each other and they're trying to build on that. There's a really nice moment between Genesis and Tarima, of which she comes home drunk and Genesis takes care of her. Like, there's some really nice moments in both stories, really emotional moments in both stories, really well-handled emotions in both stories. I just thought that the Doctor element was more interesting. That might be just because I'm an old fucking fan. But overall, finely acted by Robert Picardo, and all the actors are really, really good. Ribbit did say that, Ribbit's my partner sometimes in these videos, that Tarima's actress isn't super strong. And I don't agree with that. I don't think she's the strongest out of all of them. I do think she's okay. But I do think that this entire cast is really handling this stuff well. And I do like that they're dealing with the emotions. I wish they would do more sci-fi concepts. And I think exploring those sci-fi concepts would be more interesting. And I've said this in my Starfleet Academy build-up video. I wish they pushed more science-y stuff and sort of exploration of different planets and cultures. This episode kind of does it. And they have done it a little bit, but not that much. Do I think it's best season? I don't know. I think it's a really good episode, a really powerful episode. I think this one surprised a few people. I think they watched it and they were genuinely like, oh, this is actually really good. And I'm talking people who don't like Starfleet Academy. So there's people changing their mind on this show, and I like to see it because, yes, it is different. Yes, it is written different, but it is also a good show. It doesn't have to be the same as everything else. The best shows sometimes are different. Look at Deep Space Nine, the best written Star Trek show. overall, the highlight of this was the Doctor connecting with someone, with Sam, and her coming back from that. And you can see it sort of in the way she holds, I think, it's excitement. She's not over-excitable. She's happy to see her friends, but she's emotional. She turns back to the Doctor. I'm pretty sure she's going to start calling him Dad or something. I 100% think that. But yeah, there were some real great emotional moments that made me cry or get teary in this episode. And I don't cry and get teary often unless I do now. Who knows? What did you think of this Life Among the Stars and the Our Town references, which is crazy? Write it in the comments, and I will see you on Thursday with another review. I think it's the second to last episode of Starfleet Academy.